What's going on, guys? This is Burrs. I want to go over my Glock 19 today. This particular one I use in many different areas. I can use it as carry, I can use it at home, and I have a lot of Glock 19s because they work for me. They are something that, you know, feels good in my hand, and I shoot rather well. So that's why I've kind of standardized and said, you know what, I just want to stick with the Glock 19. I have a 1911, but for the most part I run with the Glock 19. Now, a lot of people have said on the live chats I've attended over the past few months, you know, make a video on what your gun is, make a video on what your gun is. I want to know what your modifications are. So, here's a video on that. So first up, let's talk about the light. I have a Streamlight TLR-1 light. I really like this light. This one's the 135 lumen version, and, you know, it's done well for me. I've put it through hell for, you know, as much as I could. You know, when I get out to the range, when I go to training and such, you know, I try to, you know, not really baby stuff to a degree because I want to make sure it works. And this light definitely works, and, you know, I really enjoy this light, and I recommend this one over any other one on the market as far as price to value ratio. On the top here I have these the skateboard tape on the front and back, which just assists with, you know, one-handed manipulations, and, you know, just gets a little bit of extra texture onto the slide there. The one thing that I do want to do is actually upgrade the sights here to the metal version. I do have the plastic version. I haven't had any problems yet, but I know I will, and it's something that is, you know, it's a weakness on the gun, and for like $15 I can upgrade those to the metal ones. So I'm going to be doing that soon. Now let's move on to, you know, the stippling and such that I had done. Now I had this done by Nate, the dumb Marine guy, as he would call himself, at Lango Tactical, my one buddy over there. And, you know, you can see that I have it stippled pretty much everywhere is where he recommended to have it done. And, you know, I've had this in classes, I've had this at the range when I go to the range, and, you know, it really has helped. You know, you can really tell a difference is what I'm trying to get to. Now, along with that, what he has done is actually gotten rid of these ridges here where your fingers would lay. And I actually do like that because when you have gloves on, sometimes they don't match up with your fingers when you go to, you know, get the gun. The other thing he's done is actually kind of put in a little area here and a little area here for my grip. So when I go to put my hand here and follow up, they fall right in line with where my actual, you know, grip is, you know, where it lines up. So that helps, as well as kind of forming the gun to my hand, which I really do like. He recommended that. I had to think about it for a while, and once, you know, we kind of went over a little bit, and he was like, look, it's still going to work with holsters, it's still going to work with the Vanguard 2, which is one holster I like to use. You know, once we got that out of the way, I was like, sure, let's try it. You know, I have a bunch of other Glock 19s, so if we screw this one up, whatever. But, you know, the other thing about that is, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, it's too rough and I don't like stippling and whatever. Well, you're really going to want stippling when you're in the rain. You're really going to want stippling when it's out hot. There's just a lot of situations in which, you know, stippling your gun or getting a rough texture of some sort, whether that be an adhesive or whatever you enjoy, you know, is really going to be something that's going to help you if you get in a situation where you're going to have to use your gun. Now, he kind of carves this out and sands it down so that when you go to get your magazine out, let's see here, when you go to get the magazine out, your finger intuitively kind of goes down into there. That's why that's kind of carved out, okay? If you, everyone's seen a magazine get popped out, I'm sure. I'm not sure why I did that, but that's what it is. As far as the slide stop, I don't really like to use the slide stop. The only time I even use it is when I'm checking the gun and checking that it's clear. The only other time I would use it is if it was one-handed manipulations. I don't use it when I reload the weapon. I've made a video on that. But it does have a use, and that is one-handed manipulations for myself. It's not changed out. It's just a stock Glock 19 slide release. Nothing special there. Now, I do have a Vickers mag release button, and, you know, it's a little bit, I mean, it's just a hair longer than what the stock one is. And I really hate the Glock extended one that they have out there. I really don't like that at all. The first time I put that in and I went shooting, you know, it was jamming into my hand here, and I was like, what is that thing constantly? I finally figured it out. But I do like the Vickers one. It sticks out just a smidge more, and let's try and get this on. You want to bump the camera like a professional. But you can see there it sticks out just a smidge more, and it's somewhat rounded on the edges, so it's not really a big deal. But, you know, I really enjoy, you know, that as well. When we go to the inside of the gun here, you know, people are going to be like, oh, did you change the spring? Did you put the metal guide rod spring in? No, I didn't do shit to it. I just kept it stock. Even the trigger and everything stock. Learn your gun's stock. You know, a lot of people want to... I know a lot of people who are like, oh, you know, if I do this, I'm going to be a better shooter. And no, you're not going to be a better shooter if you put parts in your gun. You're going to be a better shooter by going to the range and training and trying to be the best that you can. Once you get to the point of being a good shooter, then I recommend actually changing all those parts and all that stuff. But quite frankly, you know, this shit works, and that's what I like. You know, I don't like dicking around with stuff that works. And you know what? The trigger pull and all that stuff, I'm used to it. I run stock, and, you know, it works for me. So, you know, whatever works for you, but, you know, that works for me. So that's pretty much all I have. I also have, oh, this is a big thing. I also have this plug here in the back. Why do I have that there? Because if you know, especially in a desert environment, this can get filled up with a whole bunch of shit and actually cause your gun to stop working. You know, you don't want that, because it's open and it comes back up here, and then it can fill up with all kinds of lint and even sand and all kinds of shit, and you don't want that. So I do recommend a plug back here if you don't kind of cover that up with a mag well or whatever. So I mean, that's pretty much all that I do to my Glock 19, and that is my Glock 19. Everything's pretty stock except for what I just explained. So if you guys have any questions or anything, go ahead and let me know. The one thing that I will say is I do recommend, and I was supposed to have this done but didn't get around to it, the little thumb grooves here, you know, cut out, or in the front here, a thumb groove cut out, so that you can actually tear a mag out if you have some sort of a problem going on with your gun or a malfunction. Besides that though, if you guys have any questions, go ahead and let me know. If you have your own Glock 19 modifications that you like or whatever, go ahead and make a video response. We'd all like to see it. And until next time, later.